What's up, everybody? It's your man's KJ the Great, dropping another edition of All Sports Media TV. But first, I want to say I hope and pray everything is great your way. Now, let's talk about it. We are in boxing today, and yes, man, we got to talk about none other than former unified welterweight champion Earl the Truth Spence Jr. He is 28 wins, one loss, no draw, with 22 wins by way of knockout. He was stopped in his last fight with Terrence Bud Crawford last July and saw him get dropped early in the second round and then pretty much get pummeled in between. He was dropped twice in the seventh round and then stopped in the ninth round. Now, a lot of controversy has been swirling around Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, especially after the fight between Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora. Now, a lot of you guys may have not tuned into that fight. You probably watched it illegally, whatever the case may be. But if you don't remember, I'm going to remind you that fight was for the unified junior middleweight 154-pound WBC and WBO titles. Now, Terrence Crawford moving up into 154 junior middleweight, he will be the mandatory for the WBO. That's how they operate. If you hold their title and you decide to move up in weight, you can skip the line and become mandatory for whoever has the belt, or if it's vacant and two people are fighting, you become the instant mandatory. Now, after the fight with Sebastian Fundora and Tim uh Tim Tszyu suffered a cut on his head. He was bleeding badly all night. Sebastian Fundora probably suffered a broken nose. He was bleeding all night, but he squeaked out the victory via split decision. And Errol Spence immediately jumped in the ring, and he was on the mic and said, "Well, what do you want next?" And he said, I'm happy for him. Now I gotta go take his stuff." Laughing. And then you go to Twitter, you see Terrence Crawford saying, "Hey man, you gotta wait in line. It's not you gotta wait in line pretty much." And Errol Spence responded, "I don't do lines, all that type of stuff. But pretty much, if you're gonna fight for the unified titles, you're gonna have to wait in line. If you're gonna fight for the WBO title, you're gonna have to wait in line." Now, what can happen is Sebastian Fundora can be stripped or drop the WBO title, and Terrence Crawford will fight whoever they line him up with for the WBO title. Now, if he chooses to fight Terrence Crawford, I'm sure both titles will be on the line, the WBC and WBO. But if not, he could possibly fight Errol Spence Jr. for in defense of his WBC strap. Now, the crazy thing about that is they've already, kind of said where they want to go and what they want to do with either Tim Tszyu or Errol Spence. Tim Tszyu, in my opinion, he deserves his rematch. If he didn't get cut, I think he probably would have won that fight, and he probably would have won that fight handily. Because even if you look in that fight, man, he broke the guy's nose. He was still, when the blood wasn't in his eye, he was able to counter really well, and he fought, man. I like Tim Tszyu. He's a throwback warrior, man. But if Errol Spence fights Sebastian Fundora, they are going to strip Sebastian Fundora for the WBO strap, and it'll just be for the WBC strap, which I think Errol Spence, being still one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world, one loss doesn't take him out of the top 10. I think he can beat and break down Sebastian Fundora. But don't get it twisted. Sebastian Fundora, he's very strong with his jab. His confidence is growing. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with for right now. 6'6", very, very slender at 154 pounds. That's a tough task for anybody to deal with. Now, say he goes on and beats him, and Terrence Crawford goes on and beats whoever for the WBO strap. At some point, they'll be unifying, and it'll be another big fight between the two. Errol Spence probably would have had one or two victories in between that time. Terrence Crawford, I'm sure he probably will go the WBA route after the WBO and unifying those titles. Then you'll probably get a 3-belt unified champion all at once. It's hard for me to say there's anything else that Eric Spence can do to beat um, Errol Spence. Now, what I wanted to talk about is the fact that Errol Spence has split from his trainer, longtime trainer Derrick James, two-time trainer of the year, and now has no trainer. He did say he had to find a new home, which is very interesting because a lot of people are offering their services and trying to speculate about where he's going to go. Now, one trainer that he may be familiar with because of one of his former now stablemates um, is all too familiar with is Ronnie Shields. Ronnie Shields has been a long time trainer in the game. He's trained the likes of Mike Tyson, Holyfield, Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker. He's trained Chris Ariola, Jamal Charlo is there right now. He's got Arislandi Lara. He's got Filip Hargovic, Sina Abeko. He's got F.A. Ajagba. I mean, that guy, he's trained and has got a heck of fighters under his belt throughout his career as a trainer. Another trainer who offered up his services is the father of Juron Ennis, Bozy Ennis. Bozy Ennis is a really good trainer, and it would be amazing to get Errol Spence and Juron Ennis in the same camp because if you look at Juron Ennis' style and you look at Terrence Crawford's style, eventually they're gonna have to get back in the ring together. So why not go with Bozy Ennis and you can have day-to-day constant training with somebody who can switch power in both hands, great footwork, is a great athlete, can move, can put the pressure on, fight off the back foot, do all those things you need to train and prepare for a fighter like Terrence Crawford. Those are just two trainers, man. So I want to know what you guys think. This is kind of tough, but who do you think Earl Spence should go with as his new trainer? Should he go with Ronnie Shields? Should he go with Bozy Ennis? Or should he go somewhere else? You know, you got other guys out there who are great trainers as well. You got Robert Garcia, Eddie Reynoso, Freddie Roach, Joe Goosen. Man, you've got all kinds of people out there. So who do y'all think should be Earl Spence's new trainer? Let me know down in the comment section, man. I thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.